Okay, many of you know of the prophecy from the Revelation of John, the book, the Revelation of John. And many don't stop to think about the fact that John put a disclaimer warning within the text that he's not deciphering the visions. He's only writing or having written for him what he sees, and that he doesn't really know what it means. Okay? And I've taught on this before, and since I've taught on it, they have changed a lot of information, and a lot of stuff has been changed via quantum cheating, leaping, and then, you know, the Mandela effect, it's changed. But I want to talk about what's beyond the lake of fire, that so many want to say is hell. Okay? Let's talk about the lake of fire. What's beyond the lake of fire? When I taught about this 10 years ago or so, 15 years ago, when was it? If you're under 20 years old, you're probably not going to remember that. The Stargate on Stargate, these Stargates actually look like a lake of fire mounted on a wall. Okay? Like right there, you know, just looks like fire. And since then, now they look like a harmless lake. You see, it's like, what happened to it? You know, what happened to what the Stargates really look like? And then you see these images. You'll upload a page, and the images will change and move. While you're gone, more images will get added. So that, like, if you had a page queued up at images, you literally had to bring up the image, because they're in real time doing stuff. All right, but there's images here. I'm just going to scroll through it so like you can see. But there's images of the lake of fire that are identical to what the Stargates looked like in the, you know, before things were changed. To discredit this information. You know, it's not just to discredit this information, I'm sure. But one of the details that they saw too was that now the Stargate is there's no longer a fiery Stargate. It's nice and pretty and blue. You're hard pressed to find the Stargate. You know, the Stargate images of what they did look like. You know, how they were fiery and scary looking. You wouldn't want to walk through a Stargate. It was a lake of fire. You know, it was standing up. So, this is what John saw. He saw them get cast into the time loops. Okay? Where there will be wailing, weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth, because, well, the entities who are getting cast into that particular Stargate to go to the time loops, their spirits, are going to the time loops where their spirits will be time looped, placed in the body of those who they made to suffer. Okay, like, yeah, I don't know. Just say, for instance, they were out on a snowmobile and they purposefully hit an animal, or in a car, you know. Well, they're going to die and get time looped as that animal that they purposefully hit. If they torture an animal, if they, you know, negatively affect somebody, you know, if they had a lot of ill-gotten gain because they wouldn't work or whatever, you know, it's like they'll get time looped as slaves. Like this guy, he's going to get time looped as her due to his influence, causing her to get murdered before she could escape the projects with the scholarship she had. I mean, just a couple days before she was going to leave, his influence got her killed. You know, it's a ripple effects time loop. Okay? He probably is unaware that his non-tamperable, non-deletable spirit memory connects to hers. Okay? He's probably totally unaware of it. His race baiting and, the things that he fed into people, along with all the rappers. See, the rappers, all the rappers who, the entity who killed Tashana Murphy, the rappers who, the murderer of Tashana Murphy is fans of, and the sports figures, all of their influence comes into play, and their spirit memories also connect to Tashana Murphy. Also, everyone who benefited from those entities being famous. This is why, Wall Street entities are coming up missing too. Because, well, this stuff, they get famous, and then their influence is toxic, and then their toxic influence causes a ripple effects time loop for them to have to endure when they die. Plus, if they did cause death with their fame, they weren't never supposed to be famous, so all their money is ill-gotten gain, and so is all the money of everybody who benefited from them being famous. That's why you're not supposed to help somebody get famous that's not supposed to be. You see, you're not supposed to travel back in time and sabotage people like me and help the illiterate who write third grade level lyrics to, insipid, stupid loops of music, get famous over us. No. You see, what about this guy? All the racism that he caused, the racist mentality that caused, it caused, I don't agree with the language here, but it's like, but this is wrote by somebody black, so, just so people, oh no, it's racist. Okay, well, be careful who you accuse of racism and what you find racism in, because just because somebody who you think is non-black, somebody you think is Caucasian showed you this, don't mean that they wrote it. Because I didn't write nothing on this stuff, and I don't write stuff here. This is mirrored stuff. But okay, here's a good one. Rapper's Afterlife. Okay, this particular rapper has to go through a lot of stuff. This was taken directly from one of my sermons, my lessons. I'm on a private format. It's blogs and podcasts, but they're all private, and you have to be a member. And I'm not taking any more members right now because too many people are just coming in to try and investigate and poke holes and everything. And it's like, well, we're not here for that. The truth doesn't need a defense. I'm telling the truth. Eventually, those who lie will be gone, and there will be no competition against the truth. But you see, like this rapper in this blog post, he's getting time looped as slaves, and he's getting time looped as animals that suffered, due to his whack influence, because he didn't influence his fans to treat animals right. He's getting time looped as white people who got beat down by his fans. I mean, this is why you don't want to get famous if you ain't supposed to be famous, because you might get used against yourself and your own spirit. Then you'll die. You'll get time looped as all the ripple effects victims that you cause. You may not even know who all they are, but they're connected to you and your spirit. And then you get time looped to slaves, all manner of slaves, to repay that back, even sex slaves. And then your spirit gets executed, second death, and blam, when the replay of the timeline starts after the crash point, and it's been reversed and everything's undone, including all the things, all rap is undone. You don't get born to perpetuate any of it, but you got punished for it. You see how God made the snake eat its own tail and eat itself? With every spirit here, this is what he did. He put the tail of every spirit in its mouth, and then gave them the opportunity to eat themselves. And that's what's happening here. And this is beyond the lake of fire. This is the things that are described with the layer scriptures, like, do unto others as you want done to you. That's real. You need to abide by that. See, all these things here, like just since I did my last video earlier today, they've already changed what you'll find when you search for time loop or time loops. They're moving quick, okay? Remember, the top one was buy a loop in that video. That video was only done like 8 hours ago. And now all that stuff is gone. They've even made movies to try and discredit what, time loops are. But time loops are horrible things you want to avoid. All right? You don't want to die to get time looped as something that suffered here repeatedly. I mean, it depends on the amount of malice you directed. It was a lot of malice, and people want to discredit the sound doctrine of the spirit memory, but you need it because so many people are being programmed to do stuff that they wouldn't normally do. So their spirit memory has to be checked to see if that's the state of their heart, if that's actually who and what they were, or the results were manipulated. There's a lake of fire that looks like a Stargate. If you put one of them rings around it and stood it up, it looks just like one of the old Stargates before they changed it, because they didn't want their Stargates to match up with what a lake of fire looks like. Once they realized what they did, that they actually exposed, something in a prophecy, that they, these prophecies, they're only trying to make the worst case scenario prophecies come to pass. And we were warned that not all prophecies have to come to pass, that some prophecies can fail, which was like a veiled assignment to try and make the bad ones not come to pass, so that the good ones can come to pass. Now, the good ones are the ones like Lucifer coming here for a growing season with the fallen angels, to rule the world as Christ, pretending to be Christ. That's a good prophecy. That means that the world got cleaned up quite a bit for him to be able to come back here and pretend to be Christ. And then the real Christ comes once he's acted as buffer. All right, but see, beyond the lake of fire, there's wailing, there's gnashing of teeth. Imagine you torture an animal, and then you die. You get time looped as that animal being tortured by you. You get to see you in a whole different light. But also everyone who you're fans of, who influenced you to that, and any creators of any video games or any other thing that fomented, that fostered that mentality in you, to create that entity out of you that would hurt that other entity. They also get time loops. It's ripple effects, time loops. And that's why some of us who we wanted to be famous as musicians and stuff, we've been protected from fame because of what they're going to do. See, I remember this scene, seeing this scene many a times with that being red like fire. And I'm like, wow, they're walking into a lake of fire. I used to say that when I watched the movie. They're walking into a lake of fire. And it's because I knew what I was, I knew what I'm teaching you here again. In this, 15th time I'm addressing this issue, because people keep taking the revelation of John and conjuring up a weird hell that is not real. You're not just going to lay around in hell, writhing in pain. That's like, if you do enter a paradigm like that, that's temporary, like a holding cell, like the drunk tank. Okay? You will be taking the time loops. Do unto others is not a lie. Do unto others is a real contract clause that we all agreed to when we came here. We would do unto others as we want done unto ourselves. We would work with our own two hands. We would not have ill-gotten gain. We would not exude toxic influence. We would not be found guilty of things because we won't even put ourselves in a position to be found guilty. You see? So it's like, that's us. That's us, okay? We're the ones who know what the revelation of John is talking about when it says they were cast into a lake of fire. We know. And I appreciate those of you who, you're strong followers of this information, not being assaultive with it. I appreciate that. You don't get out there all big-headed. Ooh, that's what this really means. No, you're not supposed to beat the world with your knowledge like your knowledge is a stick, okay? You're supposed to paint a picture with what you know that helps them to be able to see it. You might have to dumb it down a little bit for them, and then eventually, once they accept the dumbed down crossover, then you can give them the full, you gave them some pudding or some cream or some milk. Now you can give them, or some oatmeal. Now you can give them, something more substantial, you see? But you can't dump this on people all at once because of the way the spirit is set up and the way true knowledge has to be presented. So that's the lake of fire, and that's what's beyond it, all right? And now you see just how true.